everyone, how's it going? I'm the Tchenovstok, and welcome back to Tchenovstok, episode number 12. In this episode, guys, we're going to be building a lumber mill. It's going to be a very large lumber mill and one of the most important landmarks on the map. So for this project, I'm going to be leveraging a little bit of infrastructure that was already placed down on the map. So some of these railroads that you see right now, those were there like on the base map. I didn't place those. So I'm going to be using those, but I'm going to edit them a little bit. Well, I shouldn't say edit them. I'm going to like move them around just a little bit. But yeah, I guess the real reason that I chose this location for the lumber mill was two things. One was the railroad, and two was this little basin right here. So this little water inlet that comes in, I'm going to use that for, I'm not sure what the exact term is for this, because I know nothing about like logging or lumber mills or anything of the sort. But if you look at like, you know, out in like BC, like British Columbia and Canada, you look at like any type of like logging situation going on, and you always see these logs rolling down a river or in like this basin of water. Now, I'm not sure why that is. I'm not sure like what the goal is when placing those logs in water. I'm not sure if it like does something to the wood that it makes it easier to process, or I don't know. If somebody has any experience in logging or in the process of basically turning a tree into a 2x4, enlighten me down in the comments. But yeah, that's the main reason why I chose this basin here was like this main building here has a sort of ramp going down into the water. So you can only assume that logs are being thrown out of that building via that ramp into the water. And you'll see a little bit later on that I've downloaded a, it's like a log prop. So it's just like a bunch of scattered logs. And I'm going to be placing a bunch of those in the water to kind of simulate that, not that event, but, you know, that type of situation, you know, where you get those logs flowing down the river. But yeah, I mean, that just goes to show, guys, how clueless I am with this whole build here. This is like one of the builds that I'm less familiar with, and I didn't really feel like doing a ton of research on how logging goes. So I'm just going to rely on you guys to provide me with some info down in the comments. Yeah, like I said, I mean, this logging area is going to be pretty large. There's going to be lots of like storage buildings and lots of processing buildings. And I'm going to make an effort to, I don't know, I guess like generally get it to look realistic. And yeah, like I'm placing down right now, this is kind of like the unloading area of the logging area. There's going to be two of these, and they actually like, I think they act as a base cargo train station, if I remember correctly. Now, as these episodes usually go, I'm going to start off by placing down the main infrastructure for this plant. So all the buildings and roads, and in this case, railroads as well. And then after that, we're going to get into some detailing. So props and details, and you guys know the gist of it. And I actually really like this format. You know, I think it works well, and Tchenovstok has been a real pleasure to build because, you know, I've mentioned this before a little while ago, but because it's a Soviet city, you know, cities are planned in the Soviet Union, or they were. And so it's easy to like build an entire block and then make an episode out of that, and then build something else and make an entire episode of that. So it's not like, you know, Timbuktu, where I'm working on like an entire neighborhood that's, you know, an American neighborhood that would have developed more naturally over time. You get these huge suburban areas where I might have to take like 2 or 3 episodes to build up an area. So it's a lot of fun. I'm having a ton of fun lately in Tchenovstok because of that. You know, I can just focus on an area and know that, you know, a single episode is going to go into this project. or I should say, like, this project will be featured from A to Z in one episode. You know, so I mean, this is an example. Last episode, we built the Gulag. The episode before that, I forget what we did, but I'm sure it was the same thing. So you guys get the point. And I really like this format. It's really easy. It's more captivating for you guys. You know, you can just like watch a Tchenovstok video and then, you know, it's not part of like a storyline. You know, you can watch the Gulag episode before you watch District 2 and everything just makes sense, right? Whereas like in Timbuktu, if you start on episode 42, well then you're like, okay, what's been built so far? Like, why am I starting in this neighborhood that's like half built? So, I don't know, I'm just having a lot of fun in Tchenovstok. I'll be honest, like, the series was kind of getting old for me. Like, I was kind of losing inspiration. I was like, I don't know if I want to even continue the series. But then I just got to thinking, like, okay, like, what makes you think Soviet? You know, and that's when the ideas started rolling in, such as, like, you know, the Gulag of last episode, and even this, like, this lumber mill. Perfect setting for this, like northern Russia. This is like the perfect place on earth to have a lumber mill just like this. You know, older rustic buildings, you know, it just fits this area super well. But yeah, so anyway, back to the game. Building this was a little bit different than what I'm used to. So you can see me placing down this dirt here, and I don't know, I'm not really used to playing around with the surface painter to this extent, and I was kind of worried on how this was going to end up, because right now it's looking kind of like basic, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I was just thinking at this point, like, how am I ever going to make this look good? I don't know, I was just kind of struggling with the end picture of this project. But as you see, guys, I think this area turns out really great. I'm super satisfied with it. It just fits so well into the rest of the map. But yeah, I mean, this is super exciting. Oh yeah, and I'm gonna mention real quick, guys, is by the time this episode is uploaded, I will have uploaded this map to my Patreon page. So if you're interested on building your own Soviet city on the Tchenovstok map, you can go ahead and do so by becoming a patron. And I'm also going to put a link down in the description for the logging pack that I'm using in this episode. I forget the name of the creator, but anyways, here it is on the screen. And yeah, I mean, if you are thinking of building a lumber mill, go with this pack. I mean, there's not really a better one on the workshop in my opinion, especially if you're going for like an old style. If you're going for a modern, lumber mill, you might be better off using some other buildings and props, because these ones look a little bit dated and older, which is perfect for this setting, you know. Of course, we're based in 1979, you know, we're not exactly in the internet age yet. But yeah, this is one thing that I've thought about while building this, is you can see just how like organic this build looks. Like, it's not like, you know, downtown Tchenovstok where everything is like gritty and planned out and super, like, you guys know what I mean. This lumber mill is kind of like all over the place. It sort of spreads out in two different directions, and that's one thing that I really like about this, especially having, like, after building this entire map, like, really structured. Yeah, that's what I wanted to say a minute ago. Like, Tchenovstok City is super structured and you know, all like well laid out. Whereas, you know, this lumber mill is just kind of like splatted all over the place, and it kind of like grew over time, you can tell. But anyways, at this point, guys, pretty much all of the main infrastructure, that being like buildings and roads, has been laid down. So now I'm going to start to prop up the whole thing. And this is kind of where the challenge comes, because like I said, I really don't know anything about logging. I just kind of made an effort to, I guess, divide everything. So in one part of the plant, I have processed lumber, and then on the other side of the street, we have like unprocessed logs and things. So I just tried to, you know, segregate everything and make something that looks remotely like a lumber mill. And I mean, the strange thing is like there's plenty of lumber mills around me where I live. So, I mean, I don't really have that much of an excuse, really, to not know much about that, because logging is a huge industry where I live. You know, I mean, you're driving through my area and like 90% of the time, that's all you see is trees. My area is so like underdeveloped, it looks like. But anyways, you know, like you need wood, right, to build houses and whatnot. So I guess it is an important industry nonetheless. And I guess another challenge I had with this build, I mean, it kind of was a challenge throughout every build in Tchenovstok, was the amount of props that I had available to me. So because this is, first of all, set in a Soviet setting, second of all, being set in 1979, you know, it makes for, I'm really limited to what props and details I can use. You know, so I can't place down like a 2007 Ford Explorer anywhere in the city. You know, that's like, I have to watch out with what I place down and those types of things. So it really limited me to what I could place down, even in this build. Like, there's a ton of modern logging props and things on the workshop, but I really had to resort to one pack, like one building and asset pack, and it was this one here, but it made it for quite a challenge. Well, I shouldn't say it was challenging, because I could still like use the props and the buildings, things that came in this pack, but it was just a little bit more limited. So if I was building a modern American themed lumber mill, I could probably go a bit more into detail, like add some more props and different things and trucks and workers and everything all over the place. Whereas in this, I'm kind of limited to what's available in this pack and then a few more props. And one thing that's really challenging is like vehicles. So in an American city, you know, you have like Mercedes and Dodges and Fords and all different types of cars from all over the world, right? You can just place them down anywhere in your city and it looks appropriate. But in this setting here, I'm limited to only like a few different kind of trucks and cars, and there's really not a lot of like props of Soviet cars and things. I guess there is like a ton of vehicles that drive around in the city, and I could convert those into props, but I mean, to go through doing like 20 different props and things, I mean, it's just a little too time consuming for the amount of awesomeness that it brings into the game. So I just resort to letting the cars naturally drive around and adding, you know, a few props here and there. It's good enough for me. So at this point in the episode, guys, I'm going to wrap things up in just a second here, right after I place down a few extra details. And I'm also going to expand a little bit on the infrastructure side of things. I thought that this lumber mill looked kind of incomplete without like a big warehouse or like a maintenance hall or something. So I'm going to get into that in just a second. But if you're still watching this episode at this point, first of all, I thank you so much, and I'm going to reward you guys with a little sneak peek on what's coming on the channel. So without going into too much detail, I'm actually building a new computer. Like, I'm long overdue for a new computer, and this computer, in theory, is pretty much sponsored by you guys. You know, with the ad revenue that's been generated from this channel and my Patreon and Paradox, you know, with the work that I've done with them, it's allowed me to purchase some pretty high-end computer parts. So in the next coming weeks, I'm going to be putting this all together, and I want to feature this build. So I want to show you guys exactly, you know, what you helped create for me by enabling me to go ahead with this build. So I'm going to be featuring the whole building process on the channel and allowing you guys to enjoy that. And, you know, it's going to be like a kind of thank you for everything you guys have done for me. So that's coming up pretty soon. And another thing that I want to announce is I may have ordered a couple of parts extra by accident, between brackets. So, you know, with the extra parts, you know, with the pain of returning them and going through all of that, you know, I might as well just do a nice little giveaway. You know, wouldn't that be nice, hey guys? So yeah, I'm not going to go into details on what the giveaway is, but I'm going to leave you guys with that. You know, I'm going to let you guys ponder on what this giveaway could be. There's going to be an announcement probably in the episode which features the new computer build, so stay tuned for that. But it's going to be a lot of fun, guys. You guys are really going to enjoy that. So anyways, guys, this is going to be it for this episode. As usual, I thank you guys so much for watching. It really means a lot to me. So if you enjoyed this episode, be sure to give it a thumbs up, and be sure to subscribe to the channel for many more episodes to come. So that's it for me, guys. Until the next episode, take care.